Ooh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our fourth and final match of the day here in the European Day 1 group stage of Starladder Season 9. We've got another Alliance match for you guys. Alliance versus the Q Cyber Insane Gaming crew.
That's quite a name.
It really is. And we recognize some of those names over there. We can take a gander. We've got team profiles. We can look at the rosters. Yeah, this is what we're looking at here. So Alliance, we should recognize, but Big Num, Chomi, Ink Visitor, Aloha Dance, and FN. I recognize some of those names, at least from previous seasons of Starladder. I think they were a mismatch of Team Aspera. There were some stand-ins for... was it Poseidon? Was that the other one that ended up having a lot of stand-ins towards the end?
Yes. Yeah, they had a few players, like, I think, that left to join Rock's Kiss and stuff. And Bignum was one of those kind of upcoming CIS players that kind of impressed me in a lot of those matches that Aspera managed to cause some upsets. So,
yeah.
Excited to see what his new team can do. I mean, not a team you'd expect to finish in the top 4, make to the line finals, but definitely a team who you think can compete. And that's what we've seen so far in our first 3 matches, that these teams who... you're not that familiar with, can still compete and give a good run at Na'Vi, at Alliance, and we'll see good matches regardless.
Inquisitor, he's the guy that he loves himself some Doombringer. I think in Starladder Season 8, whichever team he was on, whether it was his team, whether he was a stand-in, it was like first or second pick Doom almost every time. And ironically, he wasn't really that successful. Some games it went well, other games it was just Inquisitor AFK farming in the jungle and... oh, I guess I probably should have lended a hand to the team here. So something just to note before we look into the draft. But
it's Bignum in the captain's seat, so we'll see where he looks to go with this draft. As we'll probably pop into that.
And still getting the hang of these overlays here. There we go, right into our draft, and I got it right this time. So it is backwards. It is backwards on my little overlay here. Left is right and right is left. Confusing. Very confusing for a newcomer to this production setup. Anyway, Alliance will take their time with that first pick, and they settle on the Venomancer gods.
We've seen this here, I think, banned every game until now.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Veno's really just annoying, strong. It's just annoying more than anything. I mean, obviously very strong, otherwise he wouldn't be getting banned. But
yeah. Nobody really likes playing against Venomancer.
No.
I don't know too many players that are just like, yeah, sure, go ahead, take him.
He's so versatile too, in that you can solo mid him, you can put him in the off lane, you can run him as a support.
He's a great flex pick.
Yeah, he fits so many roles, and he's quite versatile with the builds you can go. Getting more points in the poison sting early.
Yeah.
Go for more in the wards for defending towers.
10 seconds remaining.
He's just a great all-round hero, great mech builder as well, which is always something you want on your team as well.
Mm-hmm. Those plague wards, though, I almost feel like they have too high of a hit point pool once you get past the first few levels. At level 4, they have like what, 450 hit points, 460, something like that. It's not worth even killing them. It's absurd.
It takes so much time that I agree.
Yeah, you take too much damage from the other wards while you're trying to kill individual ones. It's
then you have the problem though at level 1 where it's like they don't have anywhere near enough. You plan a ward, it's a free 15 gold for your opponents.
Yeah, it's the scaling. Yeah, level 1 wards are almost useless, and then they get out of control.
It's almost like they need like a set HP and they just do more damage, or
yeah, kind of like Clockwork Cogs. It's a set amount of attacks regardless of how much damage you do. I like that a little bit better than raw HP, but I'm nitpicking. Veno is still ridiculously strong right now.
Yeah.
So Disruptor and Dazzle, the first 2 choices for Q Cyber. Now I have to admit, I as much as I like seeing Dazzle picked early on, not exactly flex picks here. Dazzle, yeah, he can go mid. Yeah, I guess he's going to support. But generally speaking, you pretty much know what Disruptor and Dazzle are going to do. They don't have that same flexibility that Veno does, and that limits what the Insane Gaming squad can do with their final picks here.
And Shallow Grave not going to be all that great against Venomancer because he's got the poison to tick you down afterwards. I mean, obviously the heals is nice, having Shadow Wave, but
yeah,
we'll see how they look to do things. Yeah, Lions pick up a Clockwork, so not necessarily Bulldogs here. We saw S4 play it last time around for Alliance, so
yeah, and it worked pretty well. Clockwork mid is not too shabby.
Yep,
not bad. Could be better, could be worse, that's for sure.
10 seconds remaining.
Disruptor's a pretty good hero against Clockwork, though. The Glimpse is a pretty useful tool. I guess I can't really say that Disruptor counters Clockwork, but a Glimpse when he hook shots in can be semi-useful.
Yeah, it's definitely and a possible escape, but just because you escape doesn't mean you're
Radiant team
countering the
win.
hero necessarily.
That's true. You're
like-
still stuck in the cogs yourself, so that doesn't.
Yeah, and you force him back, but maybe you're
Alliances
giving up your
turn to
tower and you
ban.
can't fight anymore. Your glimpse is on cooldown, so living often is not enough on its own.
Radiant
Yeah.
team ban.
And Alliance with very smart bans here. Naga and Starladder, two heroes we talked about previously, how well they pair with Dazzle for obvious reasons. The minus armor, and then Naga also with the illusions and the shadow waves. So two very smart bans. I think they make a lot of sense.
10 seconds
And
remaining.
Insane Gaming, well, they'll take out the Life Stealer with their third ban.
5
Another
seconds
smart choice.
remaining.
Pairs nicely with that clockwork delivery vehicle as we talked about. And we'll see what else they want to
Reserve
take
time.
Yeah,
out of the pool.
good loader hero as well. Always the life stealer. So I played it earlier today. Not going to get his hands on it once again, but loader's kind of to me like the Dendy of Alliance in the sense that he's just so versatile with his hero pool. Like he'll play a Ricky, he'll play a PA. Like he plays these obscure random carry heroes which you just don't see many teams playing, but
Yeah.
Alliance will pull him out.
Yeah.
I like Spectre with Venomancer as well, something which Alliance will
Radiant
pull out
team
here
pick.
and there. And
Well, Spectre.
against the Dazzle Disruptor, I mean, these don't have a lot of burst damage, so bringing down a Spectre won't be easy, and hey, fairly squishy-ish, so Spectre's always
Mhm.
a decent option.
Alliance will ban, or pardon me, Insane Gaming will ban out Luna, who would have been a decent carry here as well. I guess you can never really go wrong with a Luna pick. She's very powerful right now. But I almost would have thought that Insane
10
Gaming would want
seconds
Luna for
remaining.
themselves. Luna and Dazzle have a ridiculous win rate when paired together right
5
now. I was just
seconds
talking to
remaining.
Brian
Okay.
about that the other night. And it's interesting because Dazzle and Luna individually are somewhere like 51, 52% win
time.
rate. They're pretty normal, but when put together in 6.8, it's something like a 75% win rate. And it kind of
How
makes
many
sense.
how many games would that have been?
There's at least 50. It's
Okay.
a pretty it's not the biggest sample size, but it's
Yeah,
decent enough that it's impressive and it makes sense. You know,
Alliances
you've got the
turn to
minus armor
pick.
from Weave and all that physical damage that Luna puts out once the bouncing glaives start moving about. It's a particularly scary team fight combo.
Yeah.
So some of those
Okay.
stats. Glad we have our stats man on demand.
Yeah.
He's chock
He's-
full of interesting tidbits like
And
Yeah,
he'll
like
just
that.
pull that stuff out every now and then. But
Mhm.
I think the big problem with the Luna there is that Dazzle Disruptor don't really have a setup or a
10
way to
seconds
initiate in. So
remaining.
you have a lot of, as a Trilane, you can do a lot of damage. You get the Luna
5
Blessing, but
seconds remaining.
your initiation is basically a poison touch, which isn't really enough. So
yeah.
I think more likely they
Reserve
want to go
time.
for a carry that can offer a bit more.
Mhm. And I like this choice from
Radiant
Alliance to
team
grab Storm. Again, Disruptor is useful against Storm with that glimpse from a long-range zip or something like that. But Storm really shines against lineups where they don't have a lot of lockdown, no hard stuns. And right now they only have Nyx Assassin with Impale. Other than that, Disruptor and Dazzle don't really tango against Storm too well. Certainly not compared to someone like a Lion who has a lot of hard crowd controls. So I think a smart choice from Alliance, a
10
good read.
seconds
And
remaining.
again, Insane Gaming limiting themselves a little bit with
5
these
seconds
choices.
remaining.
I suppose a Dragon Knight mid wouldn't be too bad. He will struggle in the laning phase against Storm, but at least that's a
Reserve
stun to
time.
try and deal with Storm later on and
Yeah.
lock him down a little bit.
It's a stun. I think more likely they maybe want to go for something like a Puck.
Yeah,
Something
Puck's
with a bit
another
more
good
mobility and just ganking potential. DK, I feel, is great in those sort of more mid-game pushing lineups because of how tanky he is and how much he can just sit on the front lines and chip
Mhm.
away at towers. But Puck's not too bad here. It does give him a very squishy lineup, though, with Disruptor, Puck, and Dazzle. But
good call, my friend. It will be the Fairy Dragon.
Alliances turn to
yeah,
pick.
it's just such a well-rounded hero, and you can't really go wrong. And that's what you against a Storm Spirit. It's like, well, you can go for a Lincoln's or something. It's not going to help against a Puck, and generally you go for the Orchid. But if you get Blink Silence, you could just be straight up dead from that.
Mhm. So good choice. As Merlini and I were joking that every time there's a Puck pickup, we say, yeah, not a bad choice here. Is there ever really a time when Puck is a bad choice?
Radiant
And
team
I
ban.
venture to say no, just an all-around, really well-rounded hero, and also kind of a flex pick. He can go mid, but in a pinch, you can put him in an off-lane scenario,
Yeah.
and he even works in a solo safe lane role as well.
I would be upset about like a first or second pick Puck. I don't
Yes.
think there's any real scenario where you want to be picking Puck in the
10
first pick
seconds
stage.
remaining.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Um,
Unless you're trying to throw your opponent for a loop, you're
5
trying to bait
seconds
maybe Puck
remaining.
mid, and then you want to, your plan is to put him in an off lane, and you have some
Yeah.
sort of a crazy
Alliances
draft.
turn
That's a
to
scenario
ban.
perhaps, but you're definitely right.
That's
Puck-
all. It's also like as far as actual like drafting meta goes. Generally speaking, it's a good guideline that your solo mid heroes are picked up in the last couple picks because so many heroes can go mid. Or at least
10
if your
seconds
solo mid's picked up
remaining.
in the first pick or two, it's a hero which doesn't have to go mid. Like we saw
5
Navi first
seconds
pick Ember
remaining.
Spirit, partly because
Right.
Ember Spirit's really damn strong, but it was also with the fact, hey, it could be
Reserve
mid, it
time.
could be carry. But you rarely see a hero first or second pick which is solely a mid hero.
Now, Alliance will 4th pick Silencer, which is an interesting choice here. Probably their second support, but as you've pointed out, EGM seldom really does play true support. He tends to grab some of those more aggressive items. What are your thoughts about Silencer overall, and particularly in this match?
God, he counters a lot of these heroes and does like you want to initiate in. Global silence will allow you to do so. Like you storm zips in, you global silence, and people will die. This is actually a really neat hero to have, I feel. And Last Word is exceptionally good against a lot of these heroes because a lot of these heroes rely on chaining together multiple spells, which is where Last Word just straight up stops at. You Nyx Assassin, you can maybe Carapace, but you're not going to follow it with an Impale. You give your Disruptor, your Dazzle, and the one spell to use if they're last worded. So this is potentially an annoying hero to deal with.
So, Slark, the final pick for Insane Gaming, which we'll get to in a second, but Alliance with the final ban on Axe. It seems they really think Axe is a truly viable pickup, I guess.
Yeah.
They played him once earlier, and now they'll ban him out. I would have been surprised if that's the hero Insane Gaming were going for. But
They have like no physical damage. Like
Yeah.
you have a
10
Dazzle, you want to
seconds
get at least
remaining.
one hero who can be like at least somewhat of a carry, and Axe isn't that.
5 seconds
I
remaining.
think it's Alliance maybe just a bit. Axe synergizes well with the Dazzle, and it's something where
Reserve time.
it could be like a little pocket strategy where they try to get aggressive with an Axe. But I think if Alliance had more time and thought about it, they'd realize that Insane Gaming would want to pick up some kind of a DPS hero.
I mean, yeah, Axe.
Bloodseeker.
Wow. I was
Here
saying
we
Alliance
go.
could have picked Axe to try and cut through Shallow Grave, but Bloodseeker, extra interesting, and it will be a position 1 Bloodseeker at that, as it looks like Loda
Load
will
of
be the one to
Bloodseeker.
take control.
Yeah, why not?
Why? Why not, huh?
Okay,
Wow.
I can roll with this.
I can roll with it. Not the pick that I would have thought, but
Hey, it's good against Rupture's good against Slark, I guess. Rupture, for those of you who don't realize, is no longer. It's now HP removal, which basically means
goes through BKB.
Goes through B. I mean, Slark's not
Prepare
really
for
a
battle.
guaranteed BKB type hero, but yeah, this is a cool little pick.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodseeker. It's fascinating, guys. We just had a heated debate the other day about who is the worst hero. Merlini and I have been talking about dumpster tier versus kale tier, and who actually takes the cake as the most dumpster tier hero. And Bloodseeker's name was tossed around a little bit. Who would you say is the quintessential dumpster tier hero in competitive?
I actually, I remember for a good couple of days, I was having like a discussion about this on my Twitter, and I think the conclusion was this was pre 6.8.
Okay.
So the hero obviously, pretty much all the dumpster tier heroes got at least a small buff, but Wraith Knight.
Wraith Knight. Interesting.
Or Wraith King.
Wraith King. Yeah,
that,
Wraith
that
King.
thing.
Skeleton
He got a
King.
bit of a
30
buff,
seconds
but
to battle.
that was what
He was on
that
my
was
list.
that was who I thought it was, and who most of the people who tweeted back at me said. An interesting hero that a few people said was Omni Knight.
Omni Knight, yeah, we threw his name around. Bloodseeker came up,
Yeah.
Morphling came up. Not as the
I-
absolute worst,
Yeah,
but
it
he's
can't be Morphling.
he's in our tier. Huskar came up on my list of really
Yes, Husker. Yeah, after getting nerfed, seems completely useless.
bad. Yeah, he's Merlini's case for
battle
Huskar was at
begins.
least he can do damage. At least like if you have him paired with like
Yeah.
a Dazzle, he can do a lot of damage. Whereas I think Merlini might have said I think Spirit Breaker was the one that everyone agreed on was the worst. But
Really?
yeah, that was our at least in the
I-
BTS house we had agreed on. See, that's why this is such a good topic of conversation because everybody
I-
has a different idea of who the worst hero is. It's such a good question.
Yeah, I don't.
There's no good answer to it. But anyway, let's introduce these rosters here. We've got Alliance on the dire side, Admiral Bulldog or Bulldong here on the off lane playing the solo Clockwork. In the mid will be S4 playing on the Storm Spirit, and up top it will be a tri-lane Loda on the position 1 Bloodseeker. We've got EGM supporting on the Silencer and Ake supporting on the Venomancer, all three in the top lane.
Off our Radiant team, we've got Insane Gaming, and the offlane is going to be your Nyx Assassin being played by the Captain Bignum. Solo mid's going to be Chomi playing the Puck, and then we've got our tri-lane at bottom. We've got FN playing the Slark. We've got Dazzle being played by Inquisitor, and then finally Disruptor, Aloha Dance handling him.
And it seems that Nyx Assassin here, big heart to Dina. So hopefully he can make Dina proud here in this game.
Well, he's got a tough lane. He's been pulled a decent amount of... He's gone for a straight-up TP scroll, which is, I guess, between, like, Silencer... None of these heroes have stuns. Yeah, no stuns. So he can just... If he gets caught out of position horribly, he can TP out if he's not going to die. But
Yeah.
you generally don't want to be in that position, because that means you're TPing home to Fountain, and you may as well die at that point.
Yeah, and that's kind of that classic pub counter to Bloodseeker. You know, oh, how do I win mid against Bloodseeker? Carry yourself a TP, because he ruptures you, and then, well, you just port home, and that's it. That's all she wrote.
All right. Well, as far as lanes go, I mean, Admiral Bulldog looking to pull the weight back to his tower. Nyx Assassin trying to do the same thing. And generally, Radiant offlane should have a bit of an easier time. Just the way the block works, it's generally close to your tower, but Nyx is having a much worse of it for the time being.
Yeah. Well, that was awkward phrase there from the Clockwork, but yeah, Nyx is definitely struggling a bit. He's 0-0. Clockwork is at least 5-0. Nyx only about halfway into level 1, and Bulldog, he's just about to hit level 3. So there's a huge disparity in the offlaners here.
Yeah,
Going
and
way
the
of
supports, Insane Gaming are just kind of trying to babysit the lane a bit and just zone them out, but Alliance are pulling, stacking, getting levels. Like, you've got Venno already level 3. Aki's got a lot of farm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely going a little bit better for Alliance. The mid lane is pretty much a wash, as it should be in the early levels. Storm 13-2 versus the 11-3 Fairy Dragon being played by Chomi. So very, very close, and that well, that makes a lot of sense, at least until level 6. There's always that small window. If Puck can hit level 6 just a little bit before Storm, you can use a Dream Coil and set up a kill before he can zip around, but that does require you to be a leg up in the lane, maybe a rotation coming your way. We see Alliance looking to set up some ganks already, perhaps, as Ake is moving around. 1-1-1 opening build here, very well-rounded. He may be able to secure a kill.
He's ventured back towards the river, so either going to head towards mid or possibly giving up on this top lane, but... This is, I don't think he's, I think this is more just wishful thinking. He's just sort of wants to scope things out, sees what happens. He doesn't have to be, he can leave the pools to EGM, so he's quite happy to just, even if there's a ward on him, he's like, well, I'm causing this Puck to be scared, I'm causing the Nyx Assassin at top to be a bit scared, and I think he also realizes if he goes for a gank from behind, you could just see an insta-TP out from Nyx, which, even if you don't get a kill, it's probably still worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that creates a lot of space for your Bloodseeker, and oh my Lanta.
S4
grabs the first blood.
Too.
6 hit points. I actually didn't catch it. I was looking at the Venomancer who was going to rotate.
Yeah, that's that 6 base armor on Storm. They're just doing work there. It really helps keep you alive, and S4 just outplaying Chomi there.
So now that'll also open up the 4-minute rune, probably going the way of S4. We see Dazzle rotating down the zip forward, and S4 does grab it.
Okay, he uses a big chunk of mana there, but it'll kind of break even when he actually gets to use those bottle charges later on. And also having a DD rune against this Puck means Puck is probably not going to be hitting a creep for the next minute.
Yep. So definitely good news for Alliance. They already had a bit of an edge. Now mid lane is a victory, and still this off lane going reasonably well for Clockwork. How are the carries looking? Pretty even as well. 20-1 on the Slark versus the 23-10 Bloodseeker being played by Loda. I'm actually pretty curious to see how Loda builds the Bloodseeker as well. I mean, what are the core items on this hero?
I don't know if there are core items for him. Possibly the Band of Elven skin could just be for some fast treads, but I kind of like the phase boots on him.
Yep, there you go, Big Num just porting home.
Alright, they forced the TP out. I got like a phase into Yasha type build. I'm not sure what I don't know what exactly want to go on the Bloodseeker here, to be honest.
I mean, if you can get away with it, pulling for a Radiance is much more of a pub-style build, but if they give Loda a lot of space, I wouldn't cross it off the realm of possibilities, even though it is a bit strange.
Yeah,
I imagine that Alliance will want to be a bit more aggressive before he would have a Radiance up, though, and that's
especially
where
with
like an S and Y comes to mind.
Yeah, and S4 with already having a good start mid means Alliance can just afford to be a bit aggressive and don't have to play a passive farming game. But
yep.
TP bottom. It looks like Alliance want to defend this Tier 1 tower. They're not going to give it up without a fight.
Yep, double damage rune still up on S4. He pops forward, long range zip straight onto a hollow dance. He does get glimpsed back, but the DD rune is enough to secure the kill. Well played by S4.
He did not calculate his mana too well there. He did not have everything he needed once he landed, but just managed to get the kill with that last Revenant.
Just barely. Very close call. I don't think he would have been able to do that without the double damage rune.
Well, Lotus has been left top, and he can just 1v1 Nyx at this point. He doesn't need the supports here. And what's Nyx going to do to him? He hasn't got really the levels or the damage here, and Loda can just last hit everything. He's got the far superior base damage here. 80 to the 57 of the Nyx Assassin.
Wow. Yeah, and Bloodseeker, he's hard to harass. You pretty much have to have enough burst to lock him down or zone him out, because harassing him is just a futile effort once he has at least a point in Bloodbath, maybe 2 points. So, not that Nyx can do too much to zone him out anyhow. Loda will be close to level 6, and probably by the end of this, the next wave or so.
Oh, he's been ganked top, though.
Uh-oh, yeah, in comes Puck. Loda's in big trouble. Dream Coil comes out. Puck has the Waning Rift. He's going to try to port home. Loda!
Oh, the coil break.
Oh, wow, that was a close call.
I thought it was going to live that one, but just enough.
Just barely. That coil break. So, well done. That does get a kill on the board here for Q Insane. And does give a kill to Puck, no less, which he desperately needed to make some recovery against this storm. Looks like down Bobby in some trouble. He is only level 5 right now, so no ultimate to make that getaway. Bulldog is also level 6. Looking for the opening. Inquisitor does scout it out, but oh, he gets hook-shotted straight away. Grave comes out onto himself. They may still have enough to secure this kill. That poison from Venomancer just too much despite the Grave. And Ake will walk away, 1 kill richer. Now they are looking for a counter kill, perhaps. Nope,
Yeah,
FN will not pursue.
Alliance want to just back off for a little time being. Actually, they're going to salve up. They're ready to sort of maybe poke their noses back in again. They get the last word off, and well, a lot of damage being dealt with the poison on top of that with the glaives, and EGM. He's committing to this.
There you go. A rocket from the Clockwork to finish him off. Nicely done. They grab themselves a kill on the Disruptor. Meanwhile, up top, Nyx in some trouble. S4 will zip up to the high ground. The silence from Bloodseeker doing some serious work. And Nyx Assassin will fall. So there you go. That Blood Rage coming in handy. My argument for why Bloodseeker wasn't the worst hero in terms of double tier.
Oh, he didn't get the curse. He almost killed the Slack there,
So
EGM.
close. But yeah, the fact that Bloodseeker has a silence at least gives him some utility, as we saw up top. Oh, speak of the devil, EGM. Puck will hop over the tree line. That one last auto attack will be enough to finish him off.
EGM was getting greedy there.
Yeah.
True to his nature. Went in for that kill really deep on Slack, and well, Puck easy rotation gets a counter kill, but still, I mean, not a huge loss. He's just a support silencer. It's a kill for the Puck, not a game-changing one, and not too big of a loss for Alliance.
Puck does now have power treads up, so won't be pulling for a super fast blink, but going for a little bit more of a sustained Puck, a Puck that can withstand a bit more damage and maybe have a little bit more damage as well. He is sitting level 8 with Invisibility Rune on, maybe looking for an opening to gank S4, but with Puck missing for this long, S4 will just back up into the jungle, farm this hard camp. Smart heads-up play. Good game sense from the Son of Magnus. And we'll just continue getting his farm. Well played.
Yeah. And, well, for the time being, I mean, Q Insane doing okay as far as holding their own. They're not getting that great a farm on their core heroes. Puck, the treads probably helps him stay alive a bit longer, but it means the blink gets slowed down a lot. And Nyx Assassin in the offlane is really struggling for farm. Just the 14 CS to his name. The top 3 as far as net worth goes is pretty much all on the Alliance side.
Yeah. Clockwork he's tangoing with the tops, and Nyx is about half of what those top farmers are at about 1.5k compared to the 3,000 of Puck, Clockwork, and Slark. So I think that really is still the biggest disparity in this match. Storm is starting to get a little bit more momentum, about 400 up on the Puck in terms of net worth. He is level 9, and it looks like S4 will indeed be going for a pretty quick Orchid, that first Robe of the Magi, already in the inventory. So, smart choice. Pretty core. Nothing too crazy going on here.
Yep. Well, this is where Alliance can look to move around the map. They've got the Clockwork, who's got his hook shot, and they've got a Storm Spirit as well. So they've got a great ganking lineup. Bloodseeker, another great ganker, but they also want to be careful that they don't start overextending. Diving or at least initiating into heroes like Puck, Dazzle with a Grave, and even Nyx Assassin with Carapace and Impale is very risky.
Bulldog in some trouble. He'll get caught inside of a kinetic field. Slark doing some damage, but the cogs are enough to buy him some time. Storm will join the fray and looking to finish off a Hollow Dance, but he gets glimpsed back. Well played by the Disruptor. Unfortunately, not enough to save the Slark. Venomancer's inbound, and yeah, Disruptor will get killed. Admiral Bulldog makes it a 2-0. Great support from Alliance.
Mid lane, though, S4 could be in trouble here. No, it's been coiled up, but Puck doesn't have the damage to get this, even with a double damage. He's going to go zipping in for this one, S4. He gets the pull. He has got a Remnant as well. Last word is there. Chomi's just straight up dead.
Wow, that's a surprising turnaround after a double damage rune on the puck, but again, good game sense from S4. He knew that he could commit to it. They had the crowd control to prevent. I mean, puck with the double damage, he didn't even get an auto attack off after they dove the tower. They had the CC to kill him.
Yeah, and that's a big swing going the way of Alliance. That was a huge chunk of gold on multiple core heroes. Lotus got his treads, Yasha now pressuring the T1 tower. They're going to be a counter kill up mid lane. It looks like S4 is going to be a bit too far for his own good, and well, he'll go down.
Yep, so that's something for Q Insane, but this gold graph already and looking a little bit unfavorable. About a 4,000 gold, 5,000 experience advantage the way of Alliance here as we approach the 12-minute mark. So, a counter kill at least is good news, but yeah, you were talking about that net worth chart with a lot of red floating towards the top. Now it's even more top-heavy, and that disparity continues to grow. Loda, the #1 farmer, he's had a lot of room, and he did go power treads into Yasha, working on that movement speed Bloodseeker.
Yeah, well, it's a nifty build, I guess. He's still struggling to do with the Nyx. Like, while those fights were going on, he actually used a Rupture at top of the Nyx. Nyx just TP's out, so this is still a lineup where their only disable is Clockwork as well as the Storm Spirit pull, and Bloodseeker often isn't with those two heroes going for kills.
And up top, there will be a rotation from Storm. First, Oblivion Staff in the inventory, looking to set up a kill perhaps, and also down bottom, Alliance are postured around the tree line.
Oh, top lane, they've gone in on Loda.
Bulldog and HyperX ready, but oh no, Loda, he'll take a lot of damage. In comes S4, looking to set up a kill, but it's not going to happen. Dream Coil comes out, he'll zip back. Poison Touch doing a fair bit of damage. The port's up from Alliance. Bulldog looking
Loda
for a hook shot and right into the creeps.
Well,
Very
Loda
unfortunate.
needs to make something happen. He bought back just for this one. He's looking for, he can Rupture now, but the entire Insane team there is there, and Rupturing, Bloodseeker's not really built for these 5v5 team fights.
Yep, and now they come. Ivory Bulldog in some trouble. Well played by the Disruptor to set up that kill. The Static Storm glimpse to make it happen. And they grab another kill out of it. It seems like this will be a wasted buyback from Loda, as they do not secure any kills, though. Meanwhile, Ake, as well as EGM, are pressuring this bottom tier 1 tower. I don't think they'll be able to secure the kill, at least not
Global
quite
silence,
yet.
they want to go in top.
Oh, yeah, they're going to dive the tower.
Okay.
And they'll find themselves a kill onto the Dazzle. And maybe onto the Disruptor as well. There
Cancels the TP and goes back in. S4's just got great game sense. He knows where he can get those kills. He will pay for this one with his life, perhaps. They haven't actually got any more stuns here. Nyx is out of mana, so looks like they're going to be okay. And S4 just going to keep on chugging his way out of there. No Blink Dagger on the puck. Nyx Assassin, Arcane Boots. He's got an Impale in a second, and this S4 doesn't dodge. He's going to go down.
Yeah, Illusory Orb will be enough to finish him off.
He could have just ran up to his I guess Slack was coming as well to cut him off, so
yeah,
it was going to be trouble regardless.
Yeah, so that was actually a decent swing of momentum for our Radiant side. I kept checking that bottom lane, thinking that they were going to push the tower, maybe some ports would come in, but it was just abandoned. Ake didn't pressure hard. He's got level 4 Plague Ward as well, so I mean, he could have done a lot more damage to this tower and probably secured the kill. A little bit surprised to see him now just rotating about towards the mid lane. He will find his way into a double damage rune, but an interesting course of action from the Venomancer.
Yeah, right now Alliance is getting a lot of levels. So like their supports both level 7, level 8, and that's where I feel Alliance in a good position. You've given up a few unnecessary kills, even the buyback from Loda, which kind of sets him back as far as item progression goes, but you've still got all your heroes hitting their big core levels, and that's something which is going to be difficult for Insane Gaming to deal with.
And Alliance will rotate down bottom. It is a 4-man rotation. The only one not joining them right now is the Bulldog himself. He did go Tranquil Boots into Blade Mail. Sort of an interesting Clockwork build. The Tranquil Boots in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Not an item we see on Rattle Trap very often.
Yeah, Alliance apparently like him. Veno getting some as well. And it's one of those things I think people...
Oh my.
Hold that thought.
Yep, I was watching them rotating in, but they kill Clockwork before this fight even gets going. And now EGM, he's in some trouble as well. Ooh, Impale off the mark. He might be able to escape. Nope, there's a Dream Coil from Puck. Does dodge the orb. And in comes Loda as well. Rupture used on Puck, but he'll just port home. Silence now. Out on the Nyx. S4 rejoining the battle. He's got the double damage rune on. That's a kill onto the Nyx Assassin. They'll be able to clean up Ink Visitor as well. So it ends up being a 2 for 2.
FN's showing up. He has got a Shadow Blade here. I don't think he's got the damage. He misses the leap as well, and he needs to be careful. He's popped the ultimate here. He's just going to scurry his way out of there, and that's like you've just got your Shadow Blade. You're thinking you can get a kill, and doesn't really manage to achieve a whole lot with it.
Yeah. So Alliance at least find a break even there, but not the best exchange. Bulldog just got caught with his pants around his ankles. I thought Alliance were going to be the aggressors. They were wrapping around the backside, but a great catch to see the Clockwork out of position.
Yeah. Well, things will settle for a bit from here on out. The thing I was trying to say before with the Trinkle Boots is they're actually like just really good value. Even disabled Trinkle Boots, you still get decent stats for them. You get the armor and you get more movement speed than you would normal boots, well than treads or phase boots. Obviously not during the actual phase movement speed, but so Tranquil, even if they're often disabled, are still useful. And Clockwork's a hero who'll be roaming around the map a lot, so they actually won't be disabled as much as you'd think just because he's a core hero.
Yeah, and I would say like that extra armor may be the reason why he wanted to grab it, but he went Blade Mail. So I guess against the Dazzle, he's thinking all the armor can't hurt. That could be the mindset there.
Yeah.
But still a very interesting choice on the clock. Now the bottom tier 1 tower did fall in favor of the Dire. I missed when it got taken out, but they did get that tower kill, which is good news for Alliance. They have the tower advantage, 1-0 here at the 17-minute mark. Not a lot of pushing on either side of the coin.
Alliance's draft is just, I mean, it's not a very conventional draft. It's pretty easy to come to that conclusion when there's a Bloodseeker there. But
and Silencer for that matter.
Yeah, it's can't really push towers all that well. It's okay team fight, but it's more focused on the ganking. We'll see that attempt at bottom lane, but Nyx just TP's out.
They know exactly how to deal with
They've got a
disruption.
ganking lineup that wants to be going for these single target ganks, but the problem is so few of their heroes have stuns, and now S4 at mid lane. He's going to be possibly brought down in the Disruptor ultimate. And
that's a great coordination right there. Disruptor doing some work. Well done.
Alliance, it's just hard to achieve objectives right now. Like ganking, pushing, both of those two things are hard for them, and they've got such a ganking lineup, ganking focused lineup, which is just struggling to find those openings.
And they will rotate towards mid. Once again, the hook shot off the mark. Oh no, that definitely would have been a dead Dazzle. But now they will press forward. He'll just grave, and he wants to pour it out as well. The interrupt isn't there. He'll pour it out. Now Puck joining the fray. Double damage. Oh, pardon me. He's just blue. And an overcommit from the Puck.
Yeah.
Basically just a feed there, trying to finish off EGM.
That was silly. He got so ambitious there just because he had a double damage rune.
Did he have a DD that expired? What happened to it?
He activated it when he went in, when he was in the middle.
Okay.
Oh, Nyx. TP is there. He's going to just go for the Carapace TP out. The Cogs will cancel it. Nicely played by Bulldog. They'll get one kill. Possibly more if Slark's not careful. Has popped the Shadow Blade as well as the Shadow Dance.
Yep, and now he's just going to move around the trees. Clockwork will shoot a rocket. Scout things out a bit, but the glimpse back. Clockwork in big trouble. He'll get pulled back into tower range. Does have the Blade Mail available. Will pop it to do a bit of return damage. Still plenty of DPS coming his way, and Disruptor secures himself yet another kill. S4 looking to find an objective. Does pressure the top tier 2 tower with the Storm Spirit. Almost at that Orchid, but not quite there.
It feels like it's just a bit of a generally sloppy game so far. But getting an Orchid out for S4 will help give Alliance a lot more control and know what they can do and what they want to do. He can just go around solo killing. And that's where, sure, you can TP out from a lot of these heroes, but with an Orchid, you've got the damage to get these kills. And
Sark just died to the up top.
Yeah.
Benno and Storm.
Storm? Oh, he got the Orchid. That was the Orchid timing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Delivers that, gets an immediate kill, and this is what Alliance is going to keep doing. Keep on finding these kills, and you can TP away from a Bloodseeker Rupture, but you cannot TP away from a Storm Spirit with Orchid because he just does damage too fast to you, and these heroes are all too squishy.
Yeah, and that is definitely a big turning point. It's been a weird game in terms of these ganks. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I've been catching more of them on the tail end than I'd care to admit. But things still looking pretty good for Alliance. Clockwork now level 11 and is, well, not that close to his Ags, but does have the point booster up and is well on his way. About a 7,500 gold lead for Alliance, 5,000 experience. And Storm still continuing to pick up momentum. And even though this Bloodseeker hasn't been too impactful, his farm is quite good. And let's see, where's Loda going next? Just Yasha into BKB. Yeah. Nothing too out of the ordinary with those item choices.
Yeah, pretty relatively conventional carry build, and he needs the BKB against this kind of a lineup. There's a lot of disables and lockdowns, so the BKB will help him out a lot, but he just hasn't been able to find that much as far as involvement. He's been in 6 of the kills, but it feels like he's just throwing out like 10 ruptures this game and very little has come from them.
Pretty much
Radiant's
almost
middle
every
tower is
disruption
under
or
attack.
not disruption, a rupture I've seen has just been
Radiant
instant
structures
TP
are
back to the
fortified.
base.
Yep.
And more often than not, it's worked out well for the team Q and Saint. They've been able to survive. They will
Radiant's
force out a
middle
glyph,
tower has
They lose their
fallen.
mid tier 1 tower, actually.
but it still goes down. Yeah, that's siege creep.
You just keep the Venomancer Plague Wards up. You just continue, like you say, siege away. And Veno, Aki's gone for that medallion. So now that the T1 mid tower's down, that's where you can start really thinking about Roshan, because Q Insane will struggle to sort of get to that Roshan pit.
FN needs to be careful here. They ping it out. They throw down a sentry, but EGM's in big trouble. Now Nyx joining the party, and they'll be able to burst him down.
Radiant's middle tower is under
And
attack.
now we'll see how Q Insane want to react to this. It looks like it will be a 5-man push into the top tier 1, and Alliance are ready to defend. Ports coming in, and Silencer will be up
Radiant's
before
middle
too long. He
tower
actually
is
did
under
burn his
attack.
ultimate there before he went down, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Obviously not much came out of it. Kinetic field comes down. BKB up for Loda. Hook shot in. Does connect with the Disruptor. Pushes back the Nyx. Shallow Grave comes out, buys Disruptor a little bit of time, but Dazzle doesn't have the Grave for himself. He's the first to fall on the Radiant side. Dream Coil just for the Admiral Bulldog around the backside. Meanwhile, Disruptor gets picked off. Still not looking like the best fight for Alliance. Oh, there's the cleanup. Zip forward, and they will grab the kill on Nyx Assassin. The only one to survive is the Puck. And he does have that Blink Dagger up, so that's why he was able to port away.
Yeah, good use of their items, as well as well, mostly it's their items there, and as well as the silences. Loda gets the silence on the Dazzle, prevents him using Grave to keep alive the Disruptor, and well,
He got the Grave off on Disruptor.
oh, he did. Okay,
Yeah. He
Well-
didn't have the Grave up for himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was at this point, having the BKB on Loda just means you can't prevent him from just going and right-clicking away, getting off
ham.
multiple Blood Rages, and well, good fight for Loda and Alliance in general. And the Storm Sprint needs to be dealt with, but he flies in last. He waits till he sees where that Static Storm is going, and you can just maneuver around it. And the Static Storm really was just
Right, and
We're back.
We are back once again. Plagued with technical issues today. What would be a day 1 premiere without some tech issues, gods? Oh boy. So sorry about that, folks. That was well, that was just a silly little faux pas there. But looks like we could see some initiation. Alliance in the Roche pit. They will catch Nyx Assassin, but in comes a huge ultimate from the Disruptor. Puck follows up with a Dream Coil. They get a kill on the Veno. It will cost them their Nyx. Clockwork gets picked off, as does Puck. Out comes the Shallow Grave once again, but this BKB on Loda just doing so much work. They will secure the kill on Dazzle again. Disruptor survives, compliments of the Grave. He'll port out to safety. But a very convincing team fight for Alliance, and this should be an easy Roshan kill.
contesting Roshan is just. I think Q Insane feel pressured to try and do something and make something happen, but Alliance are just getting too far ahead with their item pickups. They're going to have a BKB on S4 momentarily. He's just maybe 700-800 gold away from that. You've got just... it's just going to become too tough with these next couple of pickups. Lotus got himself 2.5k gold. Aki can get the team a mech if he wants to soon, halfway to a mech. And then you've got Silencer, who's got the urn charges, keeping everyone healed up in between these small skirmishes.
Yeah, and the gold graph is reflecting pretty much all of that. Loda now with an ultimate orb. Interesting.
Manta style, I guess, is coming up.
Yeah.
It's a good way to like dispel a Puck silence and I guess just create even more confusion and just havoc in these team fights.
Yeah. I almost want to say I'm a little bit disappointed by how standard this Bloodseeker build is. You know, he's such a sort of off-the-wall pick, and Loda's just keeping it steady, doing very normal things, which is definitely good. Smart choices, but, I was hoping to see maybe some sort of a crazy item build for a crazy hero. Wishful thinking,
At
perhaps.
least something like a Shadow Blade. I don't know.
Shadow Blade, that could be interesting, yeah. So
That's a pub build if I've ever heard one. Shadow Blade Bloodseeker.
That's for sure. EGM could be in some trouble here, though. The Shadow-Bladed Slark looking for an opening, but these all of the Tier 1 towers still standing for Alliance, so that's really limiting Slark's mobility with his invisibility.
EGM has not got a Shadow Blade. That's when you know things are not going as well as Alliance would like. EGM needs his Shadow Blade. We saw a Shadow Blade Bane earlier today, and
Yeah.
want to see a Shadow Blade Silencer.
Yep.
Radiant's bottom tower has
Alright,
fallen.
it looks like Alliance is just going to trade here. They'll give up their Tier 1 top, they'll take the pressure at bottom lane and
Dire's
just
top
keep on
tower
going, and they're
is
going to
under
force
attack.
Insane to come back and defend, and with
Radiant's
Manta style up on
bottom tower
Bloodseeker
is
with the
under
Aegis
attack.
on Storm, they can take this fight Alliance really easily.
And S4 hops forward. They catch the Disruptor. Hook shot from close range as well. That's an easy kill to get things started. Glyph has already been popped. Not the best timing from the Radiant side either. Puck hops forward, takes some return damage. Now Dazzle's in trouble as he gets silenced, and they'll be able to drop the Shadow Priest. Now they'll get a kill on the Puck as well. Oh no, Q Insane just bursting at the seams here. Only 2 left alive. Slark is the lone defender alongside his buddy Nyx Assassin. Slark making it back to the well. A few more auto attacks. EGM going in to finish him off, but just doesn't have the damage. Meanwhile, the rest of his team doing some work on this tier 3 tower. Puck will buy back, looking to do some cleanup here as a lot of low health heroes are inbound for Alliance. S4 going pure man mode, secures a kill on the Nyx Assassin. Does pop his Aegis, so he'll come back full health, full mana. Exactly what a Storm is looking for in a scenario such as that. And Alliance will back up. They're not going to press the issue. They force another buyback, one out of Nyx this time. So a very successful team fight. 2 buybacks, half damage on the tier 3 tower, and the Glyph. Alliance will take it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic fight for Alliance. The Slark's still fishing for more, though. He's going to at least scout things out here in the jungle, realizes there's a few too many, and S4 with full mana, full HP, you do not want to mess with him, especially if you don't time that Dark Pact to get rid of the Orchid. You just straight up die to this Storm. So Storm may actually go hunting here. He can kill this Slark on his own if he gets the Orchid off.
And he's looking around for it. His BKB coming up right as we're speaking as well. So in case he overcommits, gets into a sticky position, he'll be okay to make an escape, but there you have it. Free kill on the Slark.
You can't Dark Pact that. You casting the Orchid mid-flight, and there's no way to react that fast. So, end of the day, Slark should not have been farming there because he'd scouted the Storm in his jungle. He knew Storm was nearby.
Yeah.
And he showed himself to the creep wave. So Storm, he knows Storm's nearby. He knows Storm can see him, and yet he's still hung around.
Hook shot onto the Dazzle here as he tries to port out. Silence from the Bloodseeker. He will use the mech, but Ink Visitor has just got nowhere to go. Another easy kill for Alliance. At this point, I think our Radiant side just getting picked apart. Looking at the gold graph, 14,000. And as I'm looking at the gold graph, S4 adds another one to the board. He's just soloing the world here. He will get glimpsed back, BKB on, and he will be forced to make a retreat. I don't think he can solo the Disruptor right now.
He can survive at least.
Yep, but he can survive, so that's something.
That was his main thing there. Get out of there. Don't give a kill to the Disruptor. I mean, sure, it's his support hero, but it's a decent chunk of gold. He's on a... it's just getting started with a streak, I believe, now. So, well, we'll see Alliance take a... Oh, see, I thought that was another tower they're taking. They just denied the bottom tier 1 tower. Looks like they're trying to take this top tier 2, and Loader, with the Blood Rage on himself, should be able to bring this down with ease.
Yeah, he's starting to hit pretty darn hard. Looks like he's working towards a butterfly. And gosh, man, I just cannot catch a break with these kills here. Slark will pick off Silencer in the mid lane. And Bulldog. Let's see, what's on the courier? I feel like he should have his Ags now. Yep, there it is. Bulldog will have his Ags complete in just a moment.
And S4 is going to have a Bloodstone in the next minute or two. This is a very rich Storm.
Yeah. His net worth about 14k at the 29-minute mark. That's pretty darn good. He is way ahead of the leading farmer of Q Insane, who is Slark. And even Slark's farm, not really that great right now. Shadow Blade into a BKB. Not bad, but not so great either.
Well, I feel for Q Insane. They need to make something happen. They need to look to move out. Use Vendetta. They've got Vendetta, Nyx Assassin. They've got a Shadow Blade on the Slark, as well as a BKB now. And this, to me, is they've got to at least get aggressive. They just sit back, let Alliance farm, take control of the map, they're going to lose, and they're going to see Alliance. S4 jumps in the mid lane, pops a BKB even, just straight kill a Puck. There is a grave, though. He changed his target now, says if you're going to grave him, I'll go for the Dazzle instead, and Puck.
Yep.
Oh, he still dies.
To the Venom.
Yeah.
Yep. Glimpse back, though. Will push the Clockwork back, well, where he came from before the hook shot.
There's still a global silence if Alliance want to try commit to this fight, too.
Yeah. You mentioned it in the picking phase how good the poison is from Veno to try and counteract the efforts of Dazzle's Shallow Grave, and right there, point in case. Hook shot in now, right onto Big Numb. They'll push him closer to the enemies. Push him towards his teammates, so to speak. And Nyx may survive. Admiral Bulldog actually taking a lot of damage here as Slark does pop his BKB. They do get the kill on Clockwork, but they also do commit for the kill on Nyx Assassin. Now Storm just going ham, finishes off the Dazzle as well as the Disruptor. Slark will get cleaned up top as well. It ends up being a 1 for 5. I think Alliance are moments from securing a victory here.
It's not fun playing Slark against Bloodseeker. I tell you that.
Yep.
Oh, it is tough. And now, I mean, it's one of those few niche scenarios where Bloodseeker can maybe be justified in competitive Dota up against Slack,
Radiant
completely
structures are
negating
fortified.
that ulti passive when you kind of can regen in Fog. If you're below half HP,
Radiant's
you're not
middle
getting that
tower is
HP
under
regen
attack.
ever because you're never in Fog.
That's a really good point. Bloodseeker, kind of just a counter pick to Slark when you break it down that way.
Radiant's
So
middle
maybe
barracks are
Bloodseeker's
under
not as
attack.
bad as we were giving him credit for. He's got at
If
least a
his-
little utility under his
If
belt.
the only time you pick him is against Slack,
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
you're pushing it a bit, but
Radiant's middle
we'll see.
barracks are
Yeah,
under
we'll see
attack.
Alliance. They get the mid-racks in 32 minutes into the game. Pick up a Lincoln Sphere now as well on a support Venomancer. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, definitely, and it
I'm not.
looks like...
What do you? Okay, this is for the glimpse, I guess. The Lincolns. There's not
Yeah.
a whole lot you're really blocking, but yeah, I think the glimpse is the main thing.
Yeah, you've got Glimpse, Poison Touch. That's kind of about it. Impale and Dazzle. Speak of the devil, he's in big trouble here. He'll get picked off by the Storm Spirit. Disruptor also going to fall in the mix. Stun from the Nyx Assassin. Puck actually will hop in, connects with a Dream Coil, but there's just no follow-up damage. And they won't even break the tether. Mid lane of Brax have fallen. All the outer towers are down. Just taking a gander at the gold graph. About 25,000 gold and experience going the way of Alliance. Can't say I'm too surprised.
Oh, Storm misses a zipper. Oh, he gets a
That-
silence.
Oh. Puck is just
Wow.
so squishy now.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Puck's item progression. He's got nothing after the Blink Dagger, and he had that like 20 minutes ago.
all this silence is just such a pain. The Blood Rage from the Bloodseeker, the Silencer Last Word, as well as Global Silence, and then you've got the Orchid on the Storm. 3 heroes who just can hard counter him kind of with silences.
Yep. So now Alliance will just work on the top tier 3 tower. Top racks
Radiant's
exposed.
top tower
No
has
glyph
fallen.
available for the insane gaming lineup. And I think we're really at that point. Maybe one last hurrah, maybe a Hail Mary, but Alliance are just in complete control.
Yeah, I think that the Hail Mary is all they've got left. Is go for a big, just high risk play, and they're gonna get a pick off here to start things off here on the Silencer. They want Aki as well. Aki's on the front lines. Gets poison Nova on absolutely everyone. S4's got a BKB up, so he doesn't care about the Static Storm. It looks like he'll get at least one here. He brings down the Dazzle to start things off. Disruptor gonna go down next, and there's a glimpse back here. Lotus gonna finally show up, and this is probably the end for Q Insane, at least for this team fight.
Well, they will get a kill onto Storm, so they're finding a couple of kills here. Nyx
Courier
Assassin
goes
falls. The Dire Courier gets picked off as well. Puck will phase shift, and he'll be able to blink away. Bloodseeker trying to finish off Slark. He'll do it. Show me looking for another escape. Hops into the trees.
They see him.
Ooh, there you go. Oh, the close range hook shot. So Alliance still kind of a sloppy team fight, but obviously they do come out the victors. And there you go, the GG well played. Team Q Insane, well, they give Alliance a good run for their money here. Not a bad showing, 23 to 42 after 34 minutes of gameplay. Not too bad. As we were talking about, these lesser-known teams still showing that they can tango with the best. You know, give them a game. You're not one of those 12-minute, you know, kind of rollover type matches.
Yeah,
But,
this was more unusual game. I feel Alliance didn't play up to their A game. I mean, we talk a bit about a similar thing happened with Na'Vi, but I feel the game we saw from Ahead Gaming was like really solid, well executed Dota. This game, I feel Q Insane just didn't really have a clear strategy in mind. I mean, it's kind of hard to play against a draft like this because you don't often play against these kind of heroes, Silencer, as well as Bloodseeker. So it does throw you off a bit, but at the same time, I feel Q Insane didn't look anywhere near as strong as like Ahead Gaming did earlier today.
Yeah. They just didn't get off to the best start. I mean, Puck falling a solo against the Storm Spirit was definitely good for Alliance, and Alliance just did better with the lanes. Again, the big disparity was that off lane. Clockwork did very well on the Dire side, and Nyx Assassin, well, we saw how much he struggled in the early laning phase. So, well, got the ball rolling, but still a fun game to enjoy, and that wraps up day one.
Alliance,
Starladder EU.
Na'Vi, both off to a good 2-0 start, so probably the end of day one result with the possible game we maybe expected to be a bit closer was Fnatic versus Na'Vi, but
Yeah.
Fnatic just didn't bring their A game. But best of one format, they didn't have the draft versus Na'Vi, and
Yeah.
that gives Na'Vi a good early game start.
That's absolutely true, and I am listening to you here, just trying to pull up the schedule for tomorrow. I don't have it handy. All these fancy overlays, but they don't have the future schedule in here. At least I'm not privy to it.
I had it earlier up, if I can find it again.
And yeah, struggling here. Panic. But regardless, guys, we do want to thank you for your patience today. I know we had a couple of tech issues. Don't worry, tomorrow we've got everything on lockdown now. I think we've fixed our production bugs. So obviously we had the stream go up and down a few times, but we've identified most of the core issues at least, and can tend to that. So
for tomorrow, a few of the matches we've got for Starladder Europe, we've got TR the retry against Empire, Virtus Pro versus Navi, MYM versus Insane Gaming, and Power Rangers versus Roxkiss. But I believe
RX Rock's Kiss, or is that?
it might be.
I think RX is the Relax You're Doing Fine, the Poseidon team.
I think you're right there.
I'm not sure who's on that roster now, but last season it was Dread, Solo, those guys.
And we also have Starladder Korea, which is going to be coming up even sooner. That's in like 10 hours' time. So 5 in QO versus MVP, and Bird Gang up against Team Out.
All right, so plenty of Starladder coming up, guys. Make sure you check out dota2.starladder.tv. That's where you can find the most recent schedule. And, of course, we'll be doing the English coverage, so we'll be tweeting about it at Zyori TV, at BTS Gods, and at Beyond the Summit. Thank you for joining us for day one, but that wraps it up. I got nothing else, so we'll get out of here. We'll see you guys for Korea, and then Europe resumes tomorrow. Same place, same time.